Hi everyone, Trish from Tap HR here, just with a video on how you as an employer can actually recruit for free in the UK. So there are a couple of sources that I would always recommend to my clients, so I'll talk you through those and give you a brief overview of how they work. And then obviously, hopefully at the end of the video, you'll know how to do a little bit of recruitment for yourself. So before I do that, if you haven't done already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I regularly upload videos of things I hope are useful to the people who are watching. So feel free to like and subscribe. And also if there are any videos that you would like me to do, any suggestions, then feel free to pop those in the comments too. So right, recruitment. So there are two websites that I always recommend to my clients that they can use for free to recruit in the UK. So the first one is Indeed, and the second one is LinkedIn, and you can use LinkedIn in a couple of ways. So Indeed will allow you to post on their website a free job advert. Now you've got to be a little bit careful because when you're posting the advert, Indeed will try and get you to pay for a sponsored advert. So they'll try and get you to use their kind of pay-per-click service. But actually, if you kind of carry on moving through, a little bit like when you download an app and they try and get you to subscribe and get you to pay, it's the same with Indeed. If you keep kind of following the right guidance within the system itself, then you can actually post a job for free. So they have a pretty decent ATS system. So when a candidate applies, you can either have the candidate's CV emailed directly to you, or you can have the system kind of notify you automatically that a CV has come through, and then you go into the system and have a look at it. So it does take a little bit of work, and obviously the whole point of having somebody like me, who's a HR and recruitment specialist, is that you don't have to deal with all of that stuff. But if you do want to do your own recruitment, then you just need to be on it in terms of getting back to the candidates and making sure that you're managing that platform. So the first one that I would definitely recommend is using Indeed. When you're using Indeed, I think be mindful that candidates can also leave reviews on you as a company, and that you can also set up a fairly basic kind of employer profile. So if you are going to use it, I'd make sure that you set up your employer profile and also make sure that you know, if there are any reviews in there, that you've read them, you've digested them, and that you understand what they're about. The second thing that I would always recommend is using LinkedIn, and for two reasons. So you can either just use your own LinkedIn profile, so you could post a job, which, you know, if you've put it onto Indeed, you could push it through and link it to Indeed. But you can post a job via your personal LinkedIn profile so that you can make sure that people in your network can see that you're recruiting. But then also, at the moment at least, LinkedIn do offer an offer to employers whereby you can post one job for free with them. Now the caveat there, kind of very similar to Indeed, is there is a paid option obviously with LinkedIn. They do a pay-per-click option, or they do kind of more advanced recruiter options, but you can have one free paid advert with LinkedIn. So I would always say either use both your profile, also just your profile, even not both, profile, and consider using that one free post so that you can get your positions advertised. So those are the free options that I would recommend that my clients use. There are a few other paid options as well. So read.co.uk is a really great one to use to be able to post positions, although it kind of depends on what the role is that you're looking for. I mean, everything kind of depends on the role that, everything I've said depends on the role that you're looking for. You know, if the people that are going to be attracted to your role, or if the roles that are available on those websites, so if you can see on Indeed, if you can see on LinkedIn, if you can see on read.co.uk that people are applying for those roles, or those roles are available on those sites, then that's where your target market is. Something like read.co.uk is really awesome because you post a job on there in the same way that we've described with the free sites. You do have to pay for it, although usually when you post your first job, it's at a quite reduced rate. But when you post it, it's one of those sites that does what we call in the industry spidering. So when you pop it on there, it will spider out and it will go on to different websites, and it will push your role out to more people. So although you've paid money for the advert, actually you're paying for that, you know, that advert, and also kind of pushing it out to that wider kind of range of people too. And there are other sites that are pretty good like that as well. So I would say Total Jobs is a good one too. People don't really tend to use Monster as much anymore, but I would say do your research and see whether or not that's somewhere that you would want to advertise. And there are also quite a few kind of industry specific websites as well that do a similar thing, and to a larger extent are usually kind of linked to the other websites that I've mentioned as well. One of the other things that I always say to people if they're going to do their own recruitment is make sure that you have a look at your website and consider the question, what does your website say about you? So if you are advertising roles online, typically candidates will do a bit of research, they'll have a look around, they'll want to have a look at your website, find out what's in it for them, and find out kind of what their reasoning would be to come and work for you. So I think if you're putting the time and effort into doing recruitment, whether you're doing it yourself or not, make sure that your website really accurately defines kind of who you are as an organisation, what your culture is, and that benefits piece, kind of what's in it for the candidate. If you can do awesome things like make sure that you've got reviews from your existing employees, if you can do case studies in terms of how they've moved through the organisation and how they've progressed, if you can talk about kind of your values, what those mean to you, if you've got any kind of green credentials and things like that, make sure that your website is in a really amazing shop window in terms of who you are as an organisation. Because it's one thing to be able to pop an advert up on Indeed and LinkedIn, but candidates will look, they'll want to see what your website looks like, and they most likely, hopefully, will have a look at your LinkedIn profile as well. So if you're going to be posting positions, just make sure that your online presence is reflective of who you are as an organisation, but also does a really good job of explaining in a clear way what's in it for the candidate and why they would want to come and work for you. So that's my top tip. Make sure that you are really clear about who you are digitally when you're recruiting. So I hope that helps. It's kind of ended up being a little bit of a mixture, to be fair. So there's those two kind of free routes that I would recommend that you use to advertise, and then there are a few other and a bigger, more bigger websites that will give you more reach, but are paid, but aren't really that expensive. The caveat being, if you need someone like me to help with your recruitment, obviously give me a shout, let me know. But those free options are available to you. Recruiters are not going to tell you that. So make sure that you have a look and you utilise those too. So as I said at the beginning, make sure that you like and subscribe. If there's anything that you would like me to cover that you think would be useful, then please do let me know, and hopefully I'll see you guys here again soon.